A short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft is a fixed-wing aircraft that is able to take off from a short runway and land vertically. The formal NATO definition is, a short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft is a fixed-wing aircraft capable of clearing a 15 meters obstacle within 450 meters of commencing takeoff, run, and capable of landing vertically. On aircraft carriers, non-catapult-assisted fixed-wing short takeoffs are accomplished with the use of thrust vectoring, which may also be used in conjunction with a runway ski jump. Use of STOVL tends to allow aircraft to carry a larger payload as compared to during VTOL use, while still only requiring a short runway. The most famous examples of the Hawker Siddeley Harrier and the Sea Harrier. Although technically VTOL aircraft, they are operationally STOVL aircraft due to the extra weight carried at takeoff for fuel and armaments. The same is true of the F-35B Lightning II, which demonstrated VTOL capability in test flights but is operationally STOVL. History. In 1951, the Lockheed XFV and the Convair XFY pogo tail sitters were both designed around the Allison YT-40 turboprop engine driving contra-rotating propellers. The British Hawker P-1127 took off vertically in 1960, and demonstrated conventional takeoff in 1961. It was developed into the Hawker Siddeley Harrier, which flew in 1967. In 1962, Lockheed built the XV-4 Hummingbird for the U.S. Army. It sought to augment available thrust by injecting the engine exhaust into an ejector pump in the fuselage. First flying vertically in 1963, it suffered a fatal crash in 1964. It was converted into the XV-4B Hummingbird for the U.S. Air Force as a testbed for separate, vertically mounted lift engines, similar to those used in the Yak-38 Forger. That plane flew and later crashed in 1969. The Ryan XV-5 Vertifan, which was also built for the U.S. Army at the same time as the Hummingbird, experimented with gas-driven lift fans. The plane used fans in the nose and each wing, covered by doors which resembled half-garbage can lids when raised. However, it crashed twice, and proved to generate a disappointing amount of lift, and was difficult to transition to horizontal flight. If dozens of VTOL and VSTOL designs tried from the 1950s to 1980s, only the subsonic Hawker Siddeley Harrier and Yak-38 Forger reached operational status, with the Forger being withdrawn after the fall of the Soviet Union. Rockwell International built, and then abandoned, the Rockwell XF-V12 supersonic fighter, which had an unusual wing which opened up like window blinds to create an ejector pump for vertical flight. It never generated enough lift to get off the ground despite developing 20,000 lbf of thrust. The French had a nominally Mach 2 Dassault Mirage AIV fitted with no less than 8 lift engines that flew, but did not have enough space for fuel or payload for combat missions. The German EWR VJ-101 used swiveling engines mounted on the wingtips with fuselage-mounted lift engines, and the VJ-101 CX-1 reached supersonic flight on the 29th of July 1964. The supersonic Hawker Siddeley P-1154, which competed with the Mirage AIV for use in NATO, was cancelled even as the aircraft were being built. NASA uses the abbreviation SSTOVL for supersonic short takeoff, vertical landing, and as of 2012, the X-35B, F-35B are the only aircraft to conform with this combination within one flight. flight. The experimental Mach 1.7 Yakovlev Yak 141 did not find an operational customer, but similar rotating rear nozzle technology is used on the F-35B. The F-35 Lightning II is expected to enter service by 2016. Larger STOVL designs were considered. The Armstrong-Whitworth or 681 cargo aircraft was under development when cancelled in 1965. The Dornier De-31 got as far as 3 experimental aircraft before cancellation in 1970. Although mostly a VTOL design, the V-22 Osprey has increased payload when taking off from a short runway.